Hey everybody, it's Dan Thorpe here from Guitar Domination. I want to welcome you to this lesson. Today we're going to talk about bar chords, what to do, what not to do, how to fix them, and some common errors that happen with bar chords. Okay, I got an email from Paul the other day who was telling me about how his wrist and everything was contorted, everything was difficult. He was playing them, pressing too hard. He was trying to rock onto the side of his finger, pulling back with the guitar, and he was basically playing them in a really typical way, which is not good. Okay, so I gave him some quick advice, and I'm going to give you the same advice, and it's going to help your bar chords right away. Right, so this is what a lot of people do when they try the bar chords. They do this. And then they want to throw the guitar out the window. Okay, so the problem is there's a lot of things going wrong there straight away. Okay, one is the method of practice. Two is there's a lot of technical issues that are going wrong. Okay, so let's fix them. Let's go from straight away. First thing is, don't practice your bar chords down the first fret. Bring them higher. Frets are closer together. You need to stretch less, so the distance is smaller, so you're not stretching as far. So technically that lightens the load. Okay, practicing them at fret 1 is the hardest place because you've got to stretch further. Practice them at about fret 7, give or take a fret or two, where they're a bit easier. Okay, so you're going to practice them higher up. The second thing is get close to the fret, whichever bar shape you're practicing. Get close to the fret with your bar. Don't put it back there, away from the fret. See that? There's a bit of a gap, about a 3 or 4 mil gap between my finger and the fret. That's way too much. If you can see a gap between your finger and the fret, that's too much. That looks like there's no gap, so that's pretty much perfect. You might think, well, I might be on the fret. You'll know when you're on the fret because the sound will go dull. So you get it, so you can't actually see any gap between your bar finger and the fret itself. If you can see a 1 millimeter gap between the index finger and the fret, that's only a 1 mil gap I'm seeing there. You can see that closely. Okay, that's too much. You're gonna be just there, so there's no gap. It almost looks like I'm either hanging or on top of the fret, but I'm not. You'll know when you're on top of the fret because it'll sound dull and dead. Okay, so don't be afraid to get closer to the frets. Okay, that's another important point. You do that with all the fingers, get them as close to the frets as possible. You should do that anyway, it's good practice for your playing. It's really, really fundamental. Okay, next thing is, don't practice with one of the harder shapes. Everybody wants to start off practicing with the E major shape or the E minor shape. They're tough. They're 6-string bar chords. You want to practice with a 5-string bar chord. Okay, at first. The A shapes are really common. The A minor shape is my favourite one to start anybody off with. Okay, that is the best bar chord shape to start with. Why? Because you're across 5 strings and it's not too taxing. Okay, so we're going to start with the A minor shape. We're going to get roughly at the 7th fret, and we're going to get close to the fret. Next thing is, really important point with this shape, don't treat it like a bar chord. Okay, a lot of people think of bar chords, oh my god, this is like a mental thing. Oh my god, it's a bar chord, it's deadly, it's horrible, I've got to press and squeeze because that's what bar chords are all about. It's not actually the case. The way I'll teach you to play the A minor shape is it's just simply a 4-finger chord. There's no barring involved here at all. Okay, so what we're doing, I'll explain it. Index finger's going on the 7th fret of the A string, close to the fret. Ring finger is on the 9th fret of the D. Pinky is on the 9th fret of the G. The middle is on the 8th fret of the B. The high E string will be muted or ignored, okay? Notice my index finger, I didn't say anything about barring there. All I'm actually doing with my index finger is just putting it on fret 7 on the A string. That's it. It's just resting across the other strings. I didn't say bar, I'm not saying do that or do any weird wacky things. You're just gently pressing that note like you would a normal note. You know, you're just playing any note anywhere on the fretboard, okay? And then all your fingers are going down as well. So the only strings we're interested in the A, D, G and B. Okay, if you can get those 4 sounding good, that's great. The index finger can be uprighted or it can be fairly flat. Get it so it's comfortable. Okay. The common thing here is the B string. the back of the pinky finger will be muting the B string for a lot of you. Okay, so what do you do here? Solution here is take off the index finger altogether, leave the other 3 fingers on, and then just play about with the position. Don't try and push your wrist out too far like this, but just try and manoeuvre your arm while keeping in contact with the strings, just to get a bit more on the tips. Make sure your nails are short, because otherwise it'll make this much harder than it needs to be. And then just get nicely on the tips, and just pluck that D, G and B string. You should find by taking the index off, you'll get a better clarity with that B string especially. And that B string's a really key one with A shapes, because that's the note or the string that defines whether the chord is major or minor, so it's a very important note within the chord. It's where the 3rd note of the chord is based for all you music theory lovers. Okay, so just check that B string, make sure it's good. When the D, G and B are sounding good, you can gradually start bringing your index back towards that 7th fret on the A. But as you move it, don't put it on yet, just move it closer and check again. Because you might find as soon as you put it on, B string gets killed again. Okay, so basically just gradually bring that index finger into the chord. Keep checking it. Okay, now it's on. Now check the A string as well. And there you go. For a lot of you, that will work. It might take a little bit of practice, of course. All these things take practice. But for a lot of you, and a lot of students when I do this in private, a couple of minutes of doing that fixes months of possibly years worth of bar chord errors. When students come to me for lessons, often intermediate students who can play a lot of good stuff, do lots of strumming patterns, lots of finger picking, lots of songs, but can't play bar chords. You know, they come in and they're like, all like, you know, it's fighting it and battling, and everything's battling. They're doing all these things wrong. So just to recap, this is what we want to do. We want to take the shape you're practicing, bring it up higher up the fretboards, somewhere about fret 7. We'd ideally start with an A shape, the A minor shape, ideally, because that's a great shape. Okay, don't think about barring, don't treat it like a big bar. We're not actually barring. It's only later on, once you get these 4 notes sounding good, you start to then bring the index down into the bar position. But that's another step, because you need the finger independence between the index and the other fingers. So for now, you get those 4 strings sounding good. Then you gradually, while holding those 4 strings, flatten the index to get that high E string involved. And then you can do all the cool little stuff like that into the bar, you know, adding all these little nice little things that you can do within the bar, the embellishments, something that I love. I teach all this in my bar chords course. You know, it's really good fun stuff, all these embellishments. Okay, so the idea is you're just doing it all gradually. You're treating it in a methodical step-by-step way, checking each string, manoeuvring a finger a little bit. But don't forget, you don't need a lot of bar chord shapes. E major shape, E minor shape, A major shape, A minor shape. That's all you really need with your bar chords to play 99% of bar chord songs. There's a couple out there, a couple of songs where you need other shapes, but for most of you, that's all you'll ever need. Those 4 shapes cover so much, so it's worth breaking each shape up into little chunks, thinking about it methodically, working on it, just for a minute or 2. You know, as you can see from that video, if you act methodically with your bar chords, that one shape, you can get a lot more progress in it in a couple of minutes than you could in a couple of months, and that's awesome. And that's the beauty of being methodical and doing it this way. So those are some things to think about with your bar chords, and it's a really important one with your A minor shape. I hope you take those ideas and run with them, because stick with them, practice it even just for 1 minute a day. That's your challenge, just 1 minute of doing that each day. You'll make massive progress with your bar chords. And remember, it's never too soon to start bar chords. I get beginner students doing them fairly early in their playing. One of the reasons is because to play bar chords really well, you need great technique, and that great technique transfers to all of your playing. Okay? Open chords, you can get away with a little bit of sloppy technique. So often people do. But if you're learning bar chords, you need great technique. So then you don't switch on technique on and off, do you? It becomes ingrained in your playing. So the idea is you learn bar chords, they're challenging, to make your technique precise, and then that technique just covers all of your playing. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I like to get a little bit of bar chord practice in there. It just highlights and reminds students how important good technique is. Okay, bar chords also make your open chords feel easier. So if you feel like you're struggling with a couple of simple chords, but you learn bar chords and you perfect the bar chords, psychologically that's a real boost. If you can do a bar chord, E major chord, then why can't you do an open E major chord or an A major chord? So naturally your technique will improve, but your psychology will improve as well, your self-belief, and as we all know that's massive on this instrument. Anyway, that's a long enough video. I want you to take those ideas and run with them. Don't forget, check out the blog, guitardomination.net. And I'm always about, leave a comment, because the comments are really, really important, and I want to know what you think. So leave it below. Let me know what you struggle with bar chords, what the hardest shape is, what songs you've wanted to learn with bar chords, and I'll respond where I can. Okay, thanks a lot. I'm Dan Thorpe. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.